We are live. We are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are live. And this evening, tonight, on the fifth episode of NBA Sports Talk, we're going to be talking more in depth about the new announcement of the NBA in season tournament and how it's going to be a win, not just for the league, but I believe it's going to be a major win for the fans. So do me a favor, lock the door, hide the women and children. NBA Sports Talk is live now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NBA Sports Talk. I'm your host, Walter Strong, where we talk NBA sports from the fans' perspective. And if you're joining me tonight for the first time and you are new to NBA Sports Talk, let me know in the chat where you're watching me from. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag team replay. Subscribe to this channel and click the alert notification button so when we go live on NBA Sports Talk, you will be alerted when we're going to provide some great content and value. And as we said this evening, we're going to be talking about the NBA in-season tournament, the first tournament that the NBA is going to be having. And so we touched on this on part of Sunday's show, but we want to go more in depth. And so, as I said, if you're just tuning in, let us know in the chat where you're watching us from. Give us a hashtag Team Live. And if you're watching the replay, give us a hashtag Team Replay in the comment section. So, without further ado, let's get into the content and talk about the NBA's new in-season tournament. Man, I tell you, I am excited. I believe the NBA has been needing this for a very long time. And some of the reports that I've been reading and listening to, they said this has been in the works now for over a good 10 years, but they've just been looking for the right time to go ahead and to launch the NBA in-season NBA tournament. During the pandemic, when they were in the bubble, they started the play-in tournament, um, and they were looking at first to go ahead and to start the in-season tournament, but they said, let's roll out the play-in tournament first. Let's see how that does, and then over time roll out the in-season tournament, which they launched and announced during the Summer League of Las Vegas. And so, um, a lot to get into. So let's do that. A lot to get into, and so I want to make this bigger so that way you will see less of me but more of the content. There we go. So I'm down at the bottom. So the in-season tournament, NBA's first NBA tournament, is going to start during the regular season in November. The way they basically put this tournament together, all 30 teams are going to compete in this tournament. There was some talk about only a select amount of teams being in the tournament, but they agreed to allow all 30 teams, for which I think that's a big win for teams that don't make the play-in tournament and that has not seen any type of tournament competition, being out of the playoffs and basically always, getting ready for the draft lottery. I think this is a great opportunity for other teams to be able to have some competitive type of competition to get them ready and to basically help their players get in, to another level of competition within the NBA. So they're all 30 teams are broken down by regular records. All teams will play. It's going to be head to head, and based on the group play of the tournament, which there's about five teams in each tournament, which we'll get into. Each team is going to play in that tournament, that group tournament, 4 times. So if, for example, when it comes to the New York Knicks, which we'll talk about what group they're in, but if they win all 4 games, then they become the top team in that group, along with, depending on the record of the other remaining 4, which we'll get into. And so it's going to start in November and ultimately will end in December. And at the same time, while this is going on, let's go to the next slide. While this is going on, the regular season is going on as well. And so 5 teams in 6 groups, which we will break down the groups shortly, and 3 groups in the West, 3 groups in the East. As I said, the regular season is going on at the same time during in November when it starts. These games are going to primarily be on a Tuesday and a Friday. But when these games are going on Tuesdays and Fridays, they're going to be called group play games, not regular season games, even though these games do count towards the team's regular season record. They're classified as group play games. Now, when they get to the championship round, which we will talk more in a minute, that championship game is going to be considered an 83rd game, but it's not going to count towards the teams that make it to the championship round and game. That is not going to count against their record. But the games that are part of the in-season tournament are classified as group play games. So let's continue with the format of the tournament. We're talking about the NBA in-season tournament's first annual inaugural tournament that they're going to be having, all 30 teams. Group team winners will come from each of the 6 groups, 6 teams, and then there will be 2 wild cards, one wild card from the East, 1 wild card from the West. And then once you have your 8 teams and you played your head-to-head, 4 games of head-to-head, you get to what they call the knockout round or the quarterfinals, which I like knockout round better. And then after the knockout round, you get to the Final Four, which is going to be held in Las Vegas, and then the championship game. And from what my research has kind of really revealed to me is that this tournament is going to be similar, almost like World Cup soccer that they have in the US or over in Europe. This is going to be kind of follow the format of how soccer does their in-season tournament. The NBA has kind of adopted this format that they've seen from soccer. So I think this is definitely a good format. But then when you get down to the Final Four, and when you get to that knockout round and Final Four, then I think that's where you get a flavor of the NCAA men's tournament. So that's the format of the tournament. You have your knockout round, you have your Final Four, and you have your championship games between the 2 remaining teams for the in-season tournament. So let's get into the group. As we were talking about the NBA in-season tournament, the first annual inaugural tournament that starts in November. Here is Group A, which we covered on Sunday, but we'll cover it again, and we'll give you our 6 teams along with a prediction of who we believe the wild card will be. In Group A, in the West, it's the Memphis Grizzlies, it's the Phoenix Suns, it's the Los Angeles Lakers, it's the Utah Jazz, and it's the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, I believe the team that's going to come out of Group A is going to be the Phoenix Suns. I'm picking the Phoenix Suns to be the ones to come out of Group A. All right. Then Group B in the West, you have the defending champion Denver Nuggets, you have the Los Angeles Clippers, you have the New Orleans Pelicans, you have the Dallas Mavericks, and you have the Houston Rockets. And I'm going to go with the defending champs here for Group B. Be interesting to know as you are just joining us here. Let us know in the chat where you're watching us from and give us your winners for Group A and Group B as we go along together here in the discussing this NBA tournament, especially if you are watching the replay. Give us your Group A in the comments and Group B in the comments as well. Let's move on to Group C. Group C, you have the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Oklahoma City Thunder, San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to go with the Golden State Warriors right here for Group C. Okay, so those are your first three teams. Now, my wild card for coming out of the West is going to be the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to pick LeBron James and the Lakers to be the wild card. So you have your three winners from each group, and the wild card will be the Lakers. All right. Hey, before we get into the East, if you are getting great value out of this episode of NBA Sports Talk, do me a favor, click that thumbs up button, share this on your favorite social media platform. And if you have not had an opportunity to subscribe to this channel, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel, click the alert notification button, and join the conversation here in the live chat each time we go live. So let's now get to the East portion of the group. Group A, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers, you have the Atlanta Hawks, you have the Indiana Pacers, and you have the Detroit Pistons. And I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers in Group A. In Group B, I'm going to go here with the Milwaukee Bucks, the New York Knicks, the Miami Heat, the Washington Wizards, and the Charlotte Hornets. And I'm going to go with, this was a tough one. This is the tough one here. I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks here in Group B. And then Group C, again, follow along with us. Let us know in the chat who you're picking in each of these groups. In Group C, we have the Boston Celtics, we have the Brooklyn Nets, we have the Toronto Raptors, and we have the Chicago Bulls and the Orlando Magic. We're going to pick the Boston Celtics here. Now, my wild card for this East group is going to be your very own New York Knicks. I'm going to pick the Knicks as the wild card in the East. We pick the Lakers in the West, and that's our 8 teams for the knockout round. And as we get closer to the in-season tournament, we'll go more into depth because, again, these are kind of slotted based on last year's regular season records. So depending on what the records is at that point, we can basically go. Before we move any further, let's just jump over to the chat and say good evening to my good man, Ken Conson, in the house, Beards and Fitness. What's up, sir? Definitely, I have the Milwaukee Bucks coming out of their group that they're in. If I'm not for sure if you've seen the breakdown of the groups, but I definitely have them as one of the group winners of their group. But I'm going to pick the Knicks. I'm going to pick the Lakers as the wild cards. And then, like I said, we go into the knockout round. Let's Ken says here. Let's see what he has. Great to see you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Had to make a pivot to something more that I had more of a passion and an excitement and more and more it became more obvious. I definitely want to do some type of sports show, but I said, hey, when it comes to sports, NBA is definitely something I know that I have a passion for. I know I'm proficient in that, and the opportunity for monetizing and profit is there as well, brand deals and all those good things. So definitely learned a thing or two from you, sir, in your journey, as we have now pivoted over to NBA Sports Talk. And so we're going to continue here as we talk about the tournament. And so there's our groups there. And so here then becomes the question, um, what does the winner and loser get out of the in-season tournament? Well, the loser, unfortunately, they don't get anything out of this other than the appearance of being the team in the championship round. They don't get any financial incentive. However, the winning team gets $500,000. Also, they win the first annual NBA Cup, and I'm really hoping that the NBA sticks with the NBA Cup, or if they feel so have to name this thing, that they end up naming it after another NBA player and just leaving it at that. And not Kia, not Sprite, not Mountain Dew, not Pitch Black Mountain Dew Winners Cup. No, this cup needs to be, or if you want to give it a name, give it the David Stern NBA Cup and just leave it at that. And so the winner gets the NBA Cup. And some people say, well, $500,000 is not a whole lot of money for the Kevin Durant's and for the LeBron James. I think this incentive is going to be more for the bench players. This is going to be more of an incentive for those who are rookies on with a rookie minimum contract or a 10-day contract. That's who it's going to be more of an incentive for. And then from a big picture standpoint, I think the winner is going to be where if the NBA can become successful with this in-season tournament, they can ultimately roll this out to the NBA G League and be able to draw more of an excitement and an attendance for the NBA G League. But you start with the NBA. Now, doing some of my research, I've heard that, the NBA does something similar, but it's nothing to this extent. But this is an opportunity for you to really get this right, get the kinks out. And if it takes 1 or 2 years, and then you roll it over to the G League, which pulls some excitement there as well. Let's jump back over here to the comment section. Ken says, no complaint here. Yeah, definitely. Sometimes that when you realize that you have to pivot, and Ken, as I was really looking at my next move in terms of what I was going to do for a new channel, I've been really following and listening to Ryan Clark's and his crew, The Pivot, and I would constantly keep hearing him say, everybody can try to do a podcast. Everyone can try to do a live stream, but not everybody can pivot. And the more I would keep hearing him say that through his interviews with Ken Griffey Jr., Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas, and others that he Mike Tomlin. And when he said, everyone can podcast, but not everyone can pivot, I said, it's definitely time to pivot. So I'm with you, sir. Ken goes on to say, I agree. Forget the corporate sponsors and just, go ahead and create content to what you're passionate about. Want to say also good evening to my good man, Mr. James Bush. I don't know how I feel about this yet, and I understand this is new. This is truly new. I was really kind of listening to some other shows who talk sports, and some individuals were just outright they felt like this was not something that was going to work and it was going to crash and burn. But you know what? Anytime you try to bring about change, you're trying to do something new, especially when the not the hardcore NBA fans, but the casual fans, the every now and day fans that would say, the regular season is not always that exciting. It's always about the playoffs. You would always hear different sport networks pushing the narrative that It's not about the regular season. You can win a regular season award. Jokic wins, the narrative about Jokic winning 2 MVPs, but none of that mattered because what matters is the playoffs. So we were constantly hearing that negative. And now I believe this is now the NBA's opportunity to try to really bring some excitement back to the regular season. But I'm with you, man. It's going to have to slowly win the approval of a lot of fans here. Ken goes on to say, all right, definitely. We're just greeting one another. And I want to say good evening to my good dear sister, Florence Donald from Equip Institute. Good evening. Good evening. Glad you're here as we are talking about the NBA in-season tournament that's going to be launching in March. But like I said, the winners, the winners of the 500,000, it's not going to really benefit a LeBron. It's not going to really benefit a Kevin Durant. It's not going to benefit maybe a Fred VanVleet who just signed a $160 million contract. It's not going to benefit them. But I do believe it's the bench players. It's the bench players who can benefit from this 500,000. It's the player who's on a 10-day contract playing between the G League and the regular league, NBA league. It's that person. It's the rookie who's on the rookie minimum. It's the player who was undrafted, who's been undrafted, and who's been working up the ranks, paying his dues to be able to really prove himself. That's who I believe who will benefit. And like I said, from a long-term standpoint as well. And so your thoughts. Let's just jump to the comments. Give me your thoughts in terms of, who you see the winners are in this here. Oh yeah. Just in case if you didn't know, James, he's in Wisconsin. He lives in Wisconsin, and he's a Milwaukee Bucks. So when we get ready to do this preview, you guys better look out because I'm going to be calling y'all both. Normally I try to keep these shows between 30 to 45 minutes, but for you two, we will probably end up going an hour, me putting you either one at a time, or both at the same time, you both being Bucks and me being a Detroit Pistons fan. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, we're talking NBA sports from the fans' perspective. We're not talking about it from who can give the best and latest best take. We're not talking about it from a standpoint of who can give the most hottest and heated debate. We just want to talk NBA sports. That's all we want to do. James says, I live for 30 minutes you live 30 minutes from Milwaukee. Okay, perfect. West Alice today. But see, I'm just so glad we were able to put this together, bringing fellow Milwaukeeans, Wisconsin. What do you guys call yourself? Wisconsinites? Is that what you call yourselves? So bringing you both together, it's a win-win. Everything must must change. I didn't like the 3-point shot when it first came out. So I'm flexible. Yeah, I'm with you. I throw another one with you at you. It's time to change the format of the NBA All-Star game. It's time. I know we're gonna get more into that as we get into the season, but it's time to change where the NBA slam dunk contest is not the main event. If you gotta beg and pry and try to get G Leaguers, and it's because you can't get your stars to be a part of the slam dunk contest, okay, then it's time for you, since you're already marketing the 3-point shot. Okay, you market it in just about everything you do, from ESPN to Turner Sports and NBA TV. You're marketing the 3-point shot. Steph Curry is the man that you have to face when it comes to 3-point shooting, and you got Clay, you got Devin Booker, you got Kevin Durant. Then it's time for you to move the 3-point shootout, Mountain Dew shootout. Or was it Mountain Dew? Oh, Sprite, the Sprite. Oh, no. Sprite is the Slam. Forget who. Maybe it is Mountain Dew because they got that new ball for the 3-point shot. So you move the 3-point shootout as the main attraction for Saturday night. You put the slam dunk contest as the first event. You put that as the first event for the contest. And then you put the skills challenge, and then you just carry on the league that way. But it's time for change. So I'm glad to see that the winds of change are blowing in the NBA. The winds of change is blowing. And so hopefully the competition committee will come to understand that, you know, a little at a time, make these changes so that way, when NBA All-Star Saturday weekend comes, I mean, I get more enjoyment out of just watching the celebrities on Friday night. I honest James, Ken, Florence, I haven't watched an NBA All-Star weekend event in about 2 years. It's been 2 years since I've watched that because the slam dunk contest is just so horrific. And then I think also with the chain with the tweaks that they need to do with the NBA All-Star weekend, they need to, if you're going to have Kevin Big Cat, what's Big Cat's name? Kevin Towns. If you're gonna have him in the 3-point shootout with a Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, then I think it needs to be where you have so many big men in the 3-point shootout, maybe 4 for bigs, 4 for the guards, or the small forward, or 2 guard, and then the big guard, the big player, let's say, Anthony Towns. Anthony Towns, let's say he wins, Curry wins, and then you have them go against one another. That's how I think you should do it. But just to have a big guy who, in my opinion, you should be playing back to the basket. You should be playing a la Shaquille O'Neal. But I digress. If nobody wants to, no one wants to be and establish a big man game. But anyway, I digress. So you have the big guy, and turn it into a David and Goliath, if you will, or something. Be a little unique. Let's kind of change this thing up, but put that as the main event for Saturday night All-Star weekend. Slam dunk contest. Let that be the opening. Let's get back to the comments. Yes. Okay, we got that one already. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Cool. Oh, that's what you call yourselves. Sconians. Okay. I didn't know that. Over in Michigan, they call them Michiganders. You are on point about the All-Star weekend. It sucks. I mean, if I could get, I gotta get me one of those fancy Rodecaster Pros, and if I could get when they play Kurt Angle's music, dan dan, you suck, dan, dan, that's how bad the All-Star weekend. But we'll talk more about that. Yes, never watched the All-Star break. It's just, once I know it's on, I just mentally check out. And I try to make an attempt to watch the 3-point shootout, but like I said, when they start putting the big man and even the skills challenge, and you got a big, it's like the skill of the big man in some ways is being diminished or looked down upon because a big guy wants to get into the skills challenge to show that he can handle the ball. So now with Victor Wembanyama, as good as he is, and him handling the ball and everything, I don't want to see him in the skills challenge. Yeah, I know he's going to be in the rookie rise, shooting, rising stars, but I don't want to see him in the skills challenge. I don't. I don't want to see no 7-10 person. Now, if you want to create a category where big men can demonstrate and show their skills for being big men, fine, do that. But I don't know. We're talking NBA sports tonight. In-season tournament, NBA, just kind of give an in-depth breakdown of the format, the group play. Ultimately, after they get to, your 6 group team winners, along with the 2 wild cards, the knockout round, which we've covered. We've covered talking about the Final Four. Just a simple fact to say, a Final Four in the NBA. It's going to be interesting to guess. The networks are going to say, what's more exciting? Is it the NCAA men's Final Four tournament, or is it going to be the NBA men's Final Four in-season tournament? So, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. It's nothing like the Jordan days. Blasphemy. I'm going to get me some sound effects, man. I'm going to get me some sound effects. And people mention Michael Jordan on the NBA Sports Talk with the Detroit Pistons. Bad boys. You need to understand, Jordan didn't become Jordan until he got past Isaiah. I digress. This is a sports fan, so I gotta be objective. But the blasphemy. The blasphemy. What about Victor in the 3? I don't want to see a 3. I don't want to see. Okay, again, if we're gonna do the big man, 4 big men in the 3-point shootout, and then maybe Steph, Clay, Devin Booker, I think also you need to expand the field so that, okay, if you even have to eliminate, and I know that's a scary proposition to say, you're going to eliminate the slam dunk contest, unless you ain't gonna have no real competition, people competing in this thing, then expand the field for the 3-point shootout where you have more participants. And again, like I said, one side of the category is big men. So you got Victor, you got Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid. He wants to shoot a 3. Every big man that says they think they can shoot a 3, go ahead and let them be in that category. Fine. But then you have your Stephs, your Dames, your Clays, your Devins, and who else can light it up behind the arc? Then you go ahead. He says, Ken, we don't talk about MJ around these here in these parts. No, we don't. Again, I'm just mad. I'm just messing. Jordan, he did his thing. He did his thing. My issue nowadays with Jordan is with his whole Last Dance and this narrative about how he was pushing that the Pistons were considered bad representatives of being champions for the NBA, and they were a bad reflection for the city of Detroit. When he took it to that level and pushed that narrative in the last dance, and he still hasn't responded to Isaiah Thomas request to say, hey, sit down and let's talk this out. Now, you're talking about, Isaiah and Magic sitting down, and Kobe, the late, great Kobe Bryant, and Shaq sitting down and watching the Bad Boys and the Splash Brothers. I want to see Isaiah Thomas and Michael Jordan sit down and hash this thing out, but we will see. We will see. We will see. No, Ken. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Jordan played his part, and at some point, I know we're going to have to bring the topic up. I know the topic is going to come up. It'll probably be my highest rated show when we say, who's the GOAT, LeBron or MJ? Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We'll wait till we get into the season before we hit that one. Hey, do me a favor. Click that thumbs up button. Share this on your favorite social media platform. When you hit that share button, you're going to see whatever social media platforms you are on, whether if it's Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Share this on your favorite social media platform. And if you haven't had an opportunity yet, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel here at NBA Sports Talk, where we are not talking basketball to give the hottest take. We're not talking basketball about having the most hottest and heatest debates, but we're talking about basketball from the fans' perspective, us, the fans. So subscribe to the channel and join in the conversation that we're having. And so, yeah, guys, I'm excited. I also heard some news today. Some who was it? On one guy was on ESPN, and they were having a conversation about the possibility of Karl Anthony Towns maybe possibly coming to the New York Knicks. And if I was getting Karl Anthony Towns, and if he's going to play back to the basket again, shoot a 3-point every now and then, but I need a big man, a la big man. A la big man. You got Jalen Brunson, you got Josh Hart, you got DiVincenzo, and you got R.J. Barrett. I need Towns to be the big man. But if he ain't gonna do that, give me a big man, and then you ship Randall. I'm willing to let Randall go for a big man who's gonna play me some defense, who's gonna play some defense, because I need someone to be able to stop Giannis. I need someone to be able to control Embiid. So I don't know. We'll see where that conversation goes. And then lastly, before we get up on out of here, I had a chance to check a little of the highlights of the ESPYs last night as Carmelo Anthony was honored with a special award, which was given to him by his Banana Boat crew, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James, and them acknowledging him. I thought that was a very fitting tribute to share some flowers and just recognizing the contributions that Carmelo Anthony's done. I think it's important to do that now more than ever, and not take some of these late great players for granted. Not waiting to 10, 15, 20 years to try to get somebody flowers, but every now and then go ahead and recognize them now, because if anything has taught us through the passing of the late great Kobe Bryant, tomorrow is not promised. It's not promised, and for Kobe only to be here just with us just for a short period of time. It seems like yesterday, watching that last interview that he did on Valuetainment with Patrick David, and then him to be now gone. So I thought that was fitting for what they did for Carmelo, and honoring him and just recognizing his contributions. So I don't know if you guys got a chance to check that out. Just go on YouTube and put on ESPYs, and thought it was a fitting tribute for Carmelo. So, all right, gentlemen. Well, we've just about covered everything. Question of the day. Who do you think will be the biggest winner for the NBA in-season tournament? Let me know in the chat. Do you think it's going to be us, the fans? Is it going to be the league? Or can it be even the G League when they roll it out to bring some excitement? Really like to know your guys, who you think the winners will be. And those of you who are watching the replay of the NBA Sports Talk, let me know in the comments section, who do you feel is going to be the winner? And if you say, hey, look, this hasn't grown on me, give me your thoughts on why you're not ready to fully embrace that. Let us know. We're going to go ahead and pull up a few comments. And like I said, we're going to get up on out of here. There we go. Let's star. Boom. Ken says, I was subdued. I was I was subbed to you. I was I subbed to you. I think on my old channel. Oh, you subscribe. Perfect, man. I tell you, it's been a long day, Ken. Been a long day. Appreciate it. Hey, man. I've learned so much from you, man, in those days. Let me share you a quick story, Ken. And like I said, we're gonna get ready to get out of here. When you were in your old channel, you would do wins of the week. You would do wins of the week, right? And ultimately, I was so impressed. I would roll that out and start doing it with my own channel, my previous channel that I had. I would do it there, and I was putting it in the community channel. But then, when I was in the process of trying to find a new job, and when I reached out to you and you hooked me up about getting on LinkedIn, ultimately, I'm with this company now 10 months, Jovia Financial Credit Union. And I had an opportunity, long story short, to kind of talk to some of the upper management in my department, making a regular conversation with them. And I asked them the question, what is your win of the week? And they looked at me and said, well, why do you ask that? I said, sometimes work can be tough. And especially like me, I'm learning, trying to learn everything that I can. And I share with them what my win of the week was. I said, but what is your win of the week? And they went on to share. Well, Ken, let me tell you something. Every Friday morning at 9:15, they don't call it the normal department huddle. It's called the win of the week huddle. And everyone is required to be on camera because we're all on teams. And after they go over all the latest news that we need, each person is required to share a win of the week, whether if it's personal, whether if it's regarding their job or just sharing something. And so you sharing the win of the week, you planting that seed with me, seeing now how it is spread all through my department. And now other departments I'm hearing at my company are doing it as well. I also talked with Florence last week, and she shared with me that she's doing it over at her job. So you just doing the win of the week, man, has really been what I call a rock being thrown in a river, and it causes a ripple in a pond just by you doing the win of the week, man. So I wanted to share that with you, sir. Got the chat going here. Hold on. Definitely, man. Definitely. You doing that. So please don't stop doing that, man. Even on your new channel, man. Even if you can get it to fit in some way, even on your new channel. Because it encourages people. It encourages people to let them know, despite how tough and things may be on the job, just to take a few minutes to acknowledge, and I'm having people almost having church giving testimonies. Here come, I want to give a testimony, Pastor. I know it's not Sunday, but I want to give a testimony. My win of the week. I'm sorry, digress. We talking NBA sports. We're not having church here. But Ken, I got to give you your flowers, sir. I got to give you your flowers, man. And you doing that, got to give you your flowers, sir. Got to give you your flowers. So that, and I'll keep you posted. I'm waiting for it. When I hear it gets up to upper management, to the CEO, and they say, how did you come up with it? I'm going to shout you out. I'm going to say, hey, man, go to this man's YouTube page right here. This is where the win of the week, the concept came from. So, all right, gentlemen, it's been great. We're going to go ahead. I need to go get me something to eat. I want you guys to go get yourselves something to eat. And we will be back on Thursday. No, not Thursday, Sunday. See, man, it's been a long day. We're going to be back Sunday night at 8 p.m. And so we'll get some content ready for Sunday. At some point, like I said, I guess I'm going to have to start with the Milwaukee Bucks first with the team reviews for 2024. So I'll be letting you guys know it's time for you guys to come on and join me in this team preview series that we're going to be doing. So do me a favor, unlock the door, let the women and children know that NBA Sports Talk is now off the air. See you guys on Sunday night, 8 p.m. God bless.